meals and everything else. We're going to make it a freebie. We're going to charge you if you don't show up, but it'll be free if you do show up. So I don't know if there's going to be a limitation on people with social distancing. We don't know all of that yet. So, but I'm excited to at least get our feet back in the water of the seminar thing. Also, I don't want to take up a lot of time, but since it's an open forum, we have a little bit of time. I'm really excited. Our last advisory at Citrus College, I've been pushing this forever and ever, and they finally agreed. And myself, Scott Brown, Craig, and if anybody else, I put an email out, got crickets from everybody, so I'm assuming nobody else is interested. But we're going to put together a technician training program that is online for 2 hours once a week, 2 hours of interactive homework through a program that the college has, and then 2 hours of in classroom to show the instructor what you've learned and work on what you need to improve. This will be for existing technicians in the trade right now to better themselves, to learn about, we're going to have electricity, we're going to have AC, we're going to have brake and front end. So it's going to be a really, right, we have the class right now that nobody attends. It's we put it together years ago, and we're struggling to get attendance twice a week in person. So we're going to do a webinar base, a homework base, and then a show up once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month. Our first meeting to iron out some of the details is going to be next week. So it's really exciting. We're going to have our chapter sponsor some of this, you know, and blow Toyota out of the water because they have no idea what's going on. Toyota was kind of, you know, at the advisory meeting, Toyota's very, very strong at Citrus, and I was real excited to tell them we gave away $33,000 in scholarships, and they just had nothing to say. So we looked really good, and I'm excited that, you know, we're moving forward with this. And so there's one other thing, Joseph. I don't have the agenda in front of me.
You were going to introduce John, and he was going to give an ASCEF update.
Man, that needs no introduction, but I'll give him anyways. And I totally blew him out of the water. The elections were last week, and I was out of town. We go riding where there's no cell service, so I think they elected me back going up. And I apologize, John, but you have the floor.
Awesome, thank you. And yes, you were reelected, so you're going nowhere and liking it. So, no, actually, we enjoy having you on the, you know, on the trustee board. So, you know, you do a lot of great things. So, thank you. So, anyway, yes, I am going to talk a little bit about the Educational Foundation. Can everybody see my Educational Foundation screen there? So,
Yep.
All right. I think I've got this kind of figured out. So, although there we go. Okay. So anyway, the Automotive Service Council's Educational Foundation has been around for a very long time, and its main purpose is to you know, help people that are trying to get into the industry, and you know, provide scholarships. Gene mentioned we actually handed out 33 scholarships this year.
$18,000, not $32,000.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we pretty close to doubled our scholarships compared to last year. So that was you know, a really amazing thing. You know, the stock market did some bad things, and then it did some good things, and so we had the money, and so we had a lot of very qualified students that you know, deserve these scholarships. So it was pretty amazing to see. Last year, I don't think we had half as many qualified applicants as we did this year. So it was really great to see that we had the money and we had the people that actually deserved to get the scholarship. So you know, one of the biggest parts of our you know, that's part of our fundraising is our vehicle donation program, and we had talked about it a little bit at the beginning. So one of the things that that I really want to talk about with the shop owners, you know, a lot of times I'll hear feedback that, you know, we don't want to suggest to our customers that they donate a vehicle because the customer is going to think that either you're trying to steal their car or, you know, talk them out of a good car and that sort of thing. So I've been part of a vehicle donation program for almost 15 years, and we kind of have it down, you know, here at our shop. And so the first thing that you have to do when you're talking with a customer is you kind of know what's going on with their car. You kind of know what's going on with the customer, and you tell the customer they need transmission. It's $3,500, and they're like, man, I don't have the money. I hate the car. I want to get rid of it. You know, and a lot of times they'll ask, you know, hey, what are my options? And, you know, we have a standard answer. You know, you have 3 options, you know, 4, technically you have 4 options. Okay. First, you can fix it, which it doesn't sound like you want to do. Second, you can take some pictures, list it on Craigslist, show it to a bunch of people, squabble over how much you're going to take, and then somebody will finally take it off your hands. You know, you can call the junkyard, you can tow it in, or not tow it in, you can trade it in, or you can donate it. And if you want to donate it, we can help you with that process. That's how we present it to our customers. We never say you should donate your car, because then it, you know, it could look a little fishy. So we always give people those options. And it's amazing how many customers come back and say, you know, I don't want to try to sell my car. I'm not trading it in. I didn't know what to do with it. I'd love to donate it. What are my options? You know, and from there you can give them, you know, our educational foundation. We have our vehicle donation program. We make it real simple. You bring us a pink slip, you sign it over. When it sells, you'll get a tax form saying how much it sold for, and you get the write-off. As simple as that. And it is pretty much that easy for your customer. So Joseph had mentioned that a few people had experienced some problems, excuse me, which I had addressed, and I'll readdress those. So one of the things is the companies that pick up the vehicles across the state, you know, most of them don't handle the entire state. So we end up with 4 or 5 different businesses that will pick up the vehicle, and they all have different requirements. Some of them, you know, they want the pink slip signed when the customer's there. They want to see the customer. They want to call the customer. They want to talk to the customer. So we've recently addressed a big part of that issue. And so now we have one company that's large enough to actually pick up all the vehicles across the state. And so they do not require that the customer is there. So one of the other big issues that we've had problems with is when you give the information, the shops are giving the customer's phone number to them. And so if they want to talk to the customer, they'll call the customer, and we don't tell the customer that they're going to be calling. So they see a number they'll recognize, they're not going to answer. So they don't answer, they don't call back. The car sits there because nobody's actually talked to the customer. So our recommendation is when you call in the 1-800 number to donate the vehicle, you want to give the shop's phone number as opposed to the customer's phone number. And then you got to make sure that whoever's going to answer the phone knows that somebody's going to be calling for Gene, saying, yeah, I'm calling for Gene Morel, and he's donating a vehicle. And if you're not expecting it, you might say, oh, there's nobody here by that name. And so that's kind of where some of the problems, fall into place. So if you can remember that, shop number, not the customers, and make sure that whoever's answering the phone is expecting that phone call. Because once they confirm the car is there, you got the pink slip, they'll be out within a day or 2 to pick it up. So it makes it real easy to do that. So as you can see, it's a broken car. Let's donate it. People can call. It is on the website, and I believe we were going to take down the online form, because what ended up happening when you filled out the online form, is that the company would call you back and they'd ask you for all that information again. So so that's another recommendation. If there is a form on the ASCEF website, don't fill it out. Just call the 1-800 number. When you call, they will know who you are, who you're working with, and make it, like I said, make it real simple. So here's some things to think about, you know, through our donation program. It's free pickup. It's relatively quick. You know, they will handle all the documentation. All you have to do is provide the pink slip that's signed, or if you have a lost title form because you can't find the title, that's acceptable as well. And then they'll send out the tax deductible documents to all the parties at the end. So, you know, you're providing your customers an easy way to get rid of a vehicle they don't want to deal with anymore. And they also know that not only did they get rid of their vehicle, you know, but they're going to help a student out who's trying to get into a career. So, and then it really is a value to your shop. You're providing your customers with an added value. And that's something that you guys need to remember, because not everybody's going to take you up on this, but the ones that do, they're going to remember this, and they're going to be very grateful that they did not have to, you know, deal with getting rid of the vehicle. So you can see the number down at the bottom. It's 1-800-745-6121. The Educational Foundation, down at the bottom of this slide, is asc-ef.org. There are some other ways that you can donate. There's the Amazon Smiles. You can always just write a check. If you're feeling ambitious, you can actually start up your own fund. My chapter 24, we have 2 scholarship funds. You know, and you guys, your chapter, I believe you have, was it Gene, 3 scholarships, or is it 2? Can't quite remember. Gene,
We
you
have
gonna
2
pipe up?
scholarships.
2 scholarships, okay. So anyway, you know, and if you know, we have a few individuals that have created their own scholarships as well. If you want to have your own scholarship, put it in your name, great. If you want to put it in your, you know, in your business name, you know, that's great as well. So with that, does anybody have any questions?
John, I don't have a question, but I'd like to kind of tie it in. And I've always heard about that, but it wasn't until our shop and the culture that we're trying to teach our staff is to show the importance of ASCCA and how technicians, or how that plays a part in what we're doing as a shop, or the culture that we're going, the direction that we're going in as a shop, because of the fact, like what Gene touched upon earlier, we have 2 students from PCC, and we're very proud of that. And part of the contributing factor is because of the sign behind me, and I let the customers know of that. So when it comes time to have that awkward conversation like you were talking about, it's not always fun to talk about it unless you have it in a routine, like in a process that you have. Okay, so as techs, you know, we're passing down what we need to do to the advisors. The advisors, in a kinder or nicer way, are translating that to the customers as, here's your options. But if you start off with, hey, we're an ASCCA shop, let me tell you what that means. We have 2 students that have benefited from that here in our shop. We're giving back to the community. It makes it a lot easier to go, well, you know, what are you going to do with that car? This is an easy way to kind of transition it, and then actually lead on to, if you're going to get a new car, why not get it inspected? Unless you're going to buy a brand new car. Most of the reason nowadays people are selling their cars is because they're trying to unload problems. So it has a nice way of tying in who you are as a shop culture, you know, the foundations that you have, the support that you have from the state, as well as the ability you have to solve the customer's problem one more time of getting rid of what they perceive, and perception is reality, a problem.
Yep.
I want to tag to you too. I have a customer. We have the same problem with the engine problem. So he doesn't know what he's want to do. So when he came in, I was talking to him. I showed him that ASCC sign. I told him about the scholarship we're going to get if you donate the car to the this 800 number.
Yeah.
No question asked. He said, okay, give me the number. But I said, can you take care of that? He can bring me pink slip, everything. I did it right away. And after 2 days, they come and pick it up, and it was very easy. It was
Yeah.
about less than a month ago.
Yeah, awesome.
That's very good, easy.
Good to hear. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a very simple process, and you know it can absolutely help your customer out. You know, that's the thing that I think is often overlooked in this is it's a value for your customers to help them through. You know, most of us in ASCCA, we're not looking for the one and done type customer. You know, we're here to help from start to finish, and if we can help them transition out of that car, who are they going to think of once they get their next car? They're going to think of us, and they're going to come back. And it's very interesting. Like, I have 4 advisors, and at various times, as we get a new advisor, it takes a while to get them up to speed and comfortable. And I can always tell when somebody's really comfortable with it, because all of a sudden, oh, hey, got a car donated today, and then a couple months later, it shows itself when you get an advisor that sees the value. They see the value at both ends. We're helping students get into the industry, and we're taking care of our customer. So, once they see that and they buy into it, it gets easier and easier. And yes, each time they do it, they practice it, they can explain it just a little bit better, and it gets easier to go from there. So
I've had issues where they want to, they think they're going to get more somewhere else, or they go, well, if I go to pick apart it or sell it to them, I'm like, well, it's still $500. It's just $500 in your pocket, or is it $500 on your tax deduction? Either way, that's the limit. And then I said, but when it goes to a foundation, they auction it and they make more profit to put towards a scholarship. So usually that's what gets them, is that their car is worth more through that channel, and they will take it in any condition. Because then they think, well, if I could sell it, I go, well, remember, you're liable for getting it smogged. And I go, so you need to, so I remind them of what they need to do, because now they're selling something that's not safe on the road. And as soon as they hear that, they like, oh, so I've had these conversations with many people, because usually we're their last ditch effort to get their car fixed.
Yeah. Yeah. And and on that note, the thing to remember is, if a junkyard is going to give them $200 for the car, when we don't, if it goes through our channels and we only get $100, they can still write off $500. Any vehicle donation, if they sell for less than $500, you can write off $500. If Norm feels like your car's worth more than that, and he can, it's up to Norm, as the tax man. He can say, I think, this is whatever, it's a work vehicle, it's worth more, but that's between, the customer and their tax person. But you do get at least $500 write-off on it. So.
Okay, this is really good stuff, but we need to move on.
Yep. All right.
Mr. Tim, would you like to take over? You're muted. Unmute.
Unmute
Tim.
yourself, Tim.
Thank you. All right. Chapter reps report. Our focus is welcome to election month. After today, everybody's shoulders are going to drop. And remember, on the 21st and 22nd, if you don't know what you're doing, log on to Zoom. Please make it a point to come to the team weekend for ASCCA 2020. It's been a very interesting, challenging, and rewarding year. And we want to take our opportunities that we've had to kind of learn from previous experiences so that we can move forward and grow, not only as a team, but also as a company. That's kind of the mindset behind it. So when you grow, you need a little bit of brainstorming. We need a lot more people there to kind of contribute and give some ideas, just like we're doing tonight. And that's a beauty part of interacting with, encouraging interchange. I know in previous Zoom meetings, John kind of encouraged me to, hey, it's okay to treat yourself. Monday hit, and then Tuesday hit, and then Wednesday you're like, oh, I wanted to do that thing. But if you're going to do it by the end of the week, go to the ASCCA website, go to the calendar, and sign up. It's very easy to do. Our speaker is going to be really, really interesting because we know who he is. It's Malin Newton from ESI, and it's not the first time we've received very helpful information from Malin about how to, don't just sit there, get up and do something. And he's going to talk about what that is that we can do, because John, you hit the nail on the head when we were talking about that Zoom meeting. You said it's so difficult to get it implemented. Once you start the implementation process, the second one becomes easier, the third one becomes easier, and the next thing you know, there's some positive changes happening in the shop. And that's really what we want to pass down. If you're experiencing those and you have, awesome. Please come to the meeting, contribute, tell us what you did, because we want to receive that positive encouragement as well. And if you're not, don't just sit there, do something. Come to the meeting, because this is what gives that little bit of fire to ignite you to be able to go, you know what, I've been talking about doing that with my team, my partner, myself. This is the opportunity in which we're going to learn tactics and tips to actually put it into play. And those of us that have put it into play, how do we get it to the next? Carlos, you're going to meet shop owners like Craig, Kirk, all of us. Most of them we already know. We've been seeing them at the meetings in the past, or if we haven't, you're going to meet some awesome friends. And this is where you can see, what can I be doing without having that competitive edge of, oh, who's my competitor? Who do I have to worry about? You're the only one you have to worry about. And I say that because there was a time where I did worry about these things. And once you get that implementation process in play, it becomes so much easier to actually get it to the next level. It comes with its limitations, but that's where we have the unity of being able to have the association. We had a limited problem this week with transmission. I shot out a Team Talk text, or not a text, but a Team Talk email. And within a few minutes, I had a whole bunch of information that was super helpful. It led to meeting a new transmission shop that builds them on the dyno, warranties them, and it led to a sale of a transmission shop that's part of our association. So we're doing nothing but elevating and giving voice to the industry. And that's really what we ought to be doing. So if your shop is growing, you owe it to everybody that helped you get there to keep doing that. If it's not, tag along. It's super fun. So I hope to see everybody there. It's November 21st and 22nd. It's on Zoom, so you really don't have a reason to say, oh, I can't make it, because you can tune in on your phone. So that's what I have. Doctor's Reps report. Rocky, please feel free to help me out with some other information that I might have missed during the process.
No, I was going to ask you a question. So this meeting with Malin, is it just for the shop owners, or do you think maybe service writers can also join in? I don't know what the, John, do you know anything about that?
I believe it's gonna be about talking on the phone. So yeah, I think service advisors are gonna be. It would be good for them to be there. Yes.
So sign up your service writers. If you have spouses that work in your shop, sign them up also. And there is no charge. It's free for ASCCA members. So don't miss it. It's also in the morning, we're going to have a bunch of meetings with the committee meetings. And if you want to get to know ASCCA a little bit better as far as the state is concerned, you can get onto these meetings and just listen in and see what they're talking about. I think that, and that would kind of ramp up your kind of, curiosity of what this association is about. It actually will open it up for you. So that would, and I'm done. Thank you.
Malin, for the new members, he usually gets $200 on up for his classes. So these are free classes, you guys. If you haven't ever seen him speak or been to any of there, please, try to get there. Okay, moving ahead. Tim, did you have any more? Are you all finished?
That'll do it for the chapter reps report. Hope to see everybody there.
Okay, next we're gonna turn it over to the meeting with Gene. Would you like to take over with open forum?
Sure, and I hope you all voted and exercised your right to do so today. If not, then shame on you. A little highlights on myself. I've been same shop 42 years. Started out very, very small, like many of you are now, and grown to almost too big for my britches now. Spent 25 years doing everything wrong. Even though I was an ASCCA member, I never paid attention. I never took the advice. I never did anything because I knew more than everybody else because I was a business owner, shop owner. And it finally, I'm ashamed to admit it, my wife said either get some training or close the damn business because it was eating me up. It was a miserable ride for me. And so once we started getting into coaching, getting more into the association, doing a lot of things, our lives started changing. We expanded, we grew, and now have a very successful shop that lets me do what I want to do. Other than making a huge paycheck at the end of the year, I really like, we take about 12 weeks off a year. So that's, we like to see our grandkids, we like to go places. So it is possible. And I just don't want all of you to spend 25 years in the hole trying to figure it out. Some young, if I was 10 years younger when I figured it out, I'd probably be retired by now. But so what I like to do is I like to, the short amount of time we have is not a lot of time to make and change your business and make you the superstar shop, but it is enough time to make you think, maybe make you do a little research, maybe make you get a little more involved. I sent out, Bob Cooper did a 3-part customer panel, which was, in my opinion, super phenomenal. I know all of you got it because I got it from Joseph. And he did that complimentary for our industry. And if you haven't listened, it's like 3.5 hours of customer interview and different things. Very, very good stuff. So I hope you all take the chance and just don't delete it and you look at it. So if you all have your pencils, your pens, your paper, your cell phone, here's one thing that applies to everything in your business. And that is have a goal, make a plan. That's it. So whatever you have, marketing, have a goal, make a plan.
Write down your notes.
Sales, have a goal, make your plan. You're going to do 50,000 a month. That's your goal. What's your plan to do that? Do I need 1 technician, 2 technicians, 10 cars a day, 5 cars a day? What's my gross profit going to be? That's the plan. But we're going to talk about, I kind of threw it out there as the 1-for-1. I don't know why so many shops struggle when you have a production man standing in your shop for 40 hours a week or 8 hours a day and you don't produce 8 hours a day or 40 hours a week of billed work. That's insane to me. Why does that happen? I mean, most of you, if you really admit it, you probably barely do 4 hours a day and 20 hours a week. So I know some of you, I know what your guys do. And you're a business person, you're in business for your customer, you're in business for your employees, but you're also in business to make a living, and not just a living, but a freaking great living. You deserve that. That's why you go through the heartache. That's why you put your heart and soul in your business. So if you're not making, you know, tons of money at the end of the day, now granted, if you're small starting out, you got to work up to it. I get that. You're not going to overnight turn into a gazillionaire. But again, what you make, have a goal, make a plan. If you're going to pay yourself 50 grand a year, pay yourself 50 grand a year. If it's 100 grand, if it's 200 grand, the first paycheck my wife writes every month is our paycheck. I don't care about any other bill. If anything else gets paid, I pay myself first. And if you can't do that, then maybe you should rethink what's going on, or maybe you should have a goal, make a plan. And that's how I run my business. And, you know, I have help. I use Norm as my accountant. We just met the other day. We planned out our end of the year strategies for taxes. We planned out what it looks like for next year. So we have a goal to pay as little tax as possible. And Norm and I made a plan to make that happen. It's easy. It's really not, but I can say that because.
Hey,
So
Gene, one of the questions we have, Gene, is what would you say was the most significant change that you made?
Bringing on a coach. You have to have, and a coach doesn't have to be somebody you pay. I made it, you know, I think it was a huge mistake, but I joined ATI years ago, back when it was only $20,000. And I didn't have the money for it. It was like $1,400 a month for 2 years. My wife said either do that or close the doors. And taking that leap made our company grow because we just learned and we grew. I don't have a paid coach right now, but I have 4 shop owners whom we talk to, email, text at least 3 or 4 times a week, run things by, share our ideas, you know, and we have fun with it. You know, the local guys I have dinner with or lunch with, some of the guys are back east or up north, and one's in Canada. But we fly out to each other's shops, we meet each other, we beat the crap out of each other to, you know, who makes, you know, why is your GP so low? Why is your invoices suck? You know, we do RO audits. We do a lot of sharing, but a coach can be anywhere from 500 to 1,500 a month. That's a ton of flipping money, or is it? I don't know. So, yes, Norm.
But no matter what you spend on a coach, if he helps you turn things around, you're ahead of the game.
You know, and I'm not here to promote anybody. You have Malin. I'm a Bob Cooper fan. You know, I've been through all of Bob Cooper's programs. I believe in his ethics. I believe in his, you know, processes. But there is a dozen folks out there, and finding the right guy for you is just a matter of going out and finding the right guy for you. And it's called interviewing. It's called trying them out. It's test driving them. It's don't sign a long contract. Use them for 30 days and see what happens. You know, the biggest thing that I see with shop owners, and I know Norm will back me up, you guys don't have a flippin' clue what you're making, what your profit structure is, how to charge, how to do anything. And I know this because I've been on like John's and, 90 groups and other groups, and you see other shop owners' numbers. And when the new guys come in, it scares the bejesus out of you that they're even still in business. And so if you don't have a goal and make a plan, and every time you think about any part of your business, if you just make a goal, and I have a little cheat sheet that I use, and maybe Joseph can remind me. I think I sent it out. It starts out as I want to. That's my goal. Because this, here's how I'm going to do it. And just list your steps. One of my biggest things is I was like many of you, is got it right up here. Never going to lose it, right? When I wrote it down, it came true. 2008, my coaches, my mentors made me, didn't give me a choice, write down my dreams, my goals, my aspirations, what I wanted to do. And I dreamed about those things for 10 years. And within 5 years, we had 2 rental houses. I improved my marriage. I liked my kids better. We had more time off. We had more profit. Those are all goals I wrote down. And they made us every 6 months write why we haven't achieved them or where we're at on it. It's amazing what you write down, and having an accountability partner. You don't need a coach necessarily, but you definitely need a strong accountability partner or two. So I like to share that. I'm not particularly proud about it, but I'd be in the Bahamas with drinking Mai Tais right now instead of still working had I listened early. And I was told by our Chapter 5 members that were old guys that have retired or passed, they told me, here's how you do it, Gene. I sat with them in the bar at our meetings. They bought me beers, and I told them and thought that those were the craziest flipping guys I ever met. There's no way in the world you can charge that much money for auto repair and still be in business. And the one thing, in our community, five square miles, we have 90 shops. If you talk to anybody in my community, Certified Auto is the most expensive shop in town. And guess who's the busiest in town? We are. So take a book from Malin. If everybody's looking for a cheap price, why am I so busy? If the customer is always looking for the cheapest price, why am I so busy? It's crazy. Now you have to build, you can't just charge a lot. You got to have value. You got to have staff, good staff. You got to have good communication. There's a lot of, you have to make a goal to charge what you want to charge, or have a goal and make a plan. I screwed it up already. So I wrote down just some things, and there's like 14 things that, ways to increase your labor productivity. And I was just curious, what your thoughts were, and I'll share my plan with this after we talk a few minutes, because I know we have about 20 minutes. So, so why are your shops not producing 40 hours a week when you have a man or woman standing in your shop for 40 hours? I'd be curious. Anybody take a stab at it?
You don't sell the work right.
Mm-hmm.
You don't.
You're cheating.
You don't help.
You know all the answers, John. So that's fine.
All right. I'll be quiet.
No, that's fine. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah, they know. One of the big things that I see between the guys that are that are motivated versus ones that don't. The guys that are motivated, if when they've got one car left to fix, they go let an advisor know, hey, I need another car to work on. The guys that aren't motivated, when they're done working, they'll sit down on their chair and play on their phone until somebody comes and tells them they got to work on something else.
Right.
You know,
So your staff, your technicians have to, what is it? Have a
make
goal,
plan.
make
Yeah,
a plan.
have a goal, make a plan. Yeah.
So your technicians, my technicians get booked 10 hours a day. So they have a goal. They have 10 hours to do. The plan is to get at least 8 of it done. So it's their responsibility, like John says, and we have a pretty sophisticated dispatch system, so they know this car is coming in at this time. They have this car. This has 9 hours sold. This has 4 hours sold. And one of the things is very difficult. Took me years to implement this. Is punch a time clock, in and out, start the job, punch, end the job, punch. So they know and you know how much time. So did they spend an hour and a half on that hour job, or did they spend 8/10, or did they? Because if you don't have the data, or the data, as my Canadian friend says, how can you possibly make a plan? So if you don't know what your guys are doing, then how can you build you can have the goal, which is great. We want 40 hours. My goal is 9 hours per day per guy. So my expectation when I hire somebody, you're going to build this company 9 hours per day. That's the goal. Does it happen every day? Of course not. But then we have a minimum expectation of you can't build no less than 7 hours per day. And if you fall outside those parameters and we have a talk and you go back to Cooper's three T's, train, tolerate, terminate. So you either train them to get better, you tolerate it and do nothing, or you terminate them and find somebody else, which is really difficult right now, of course. So,
Yeah.
and it's okay if we have a young man in our business, Citrus College student, his goal is 20 hours a week because he doesn't have the expertise, doesn't have the tools, but guess what he did 4 times already? 40 hours.
Nice.
He produced 40 flipping hours because things lined up for him. He had a plan. He's trying to keep up with the other guys. He had the right jobs. He had the right tools. So it's a difficult thing, but it's not a difficult thing. And having, the data, the information, and you don't need a time clock like I have. My guys punch a time clock, but you know what they also do? And if Joseph reminds me, I'll send it to all of you. It's an Excel spreadsheet. Job number, start time, finish time, this many hours. And they manually keep track of it. So at the end of the day, some of my guys aren't as computer savvy as others. So they have a manual piece of paper that says, I only did 5 hours today. So that means tomorrow I better do 9 hours or 10 hours to make up where I'm at. So you're holding your staff accountable for the goal. They're making the plan, and it works out really well. And then the bonus is, for me, if they don't turn that sheet in to the payroll department at the end of the week, they don't get a bonus. So, it doesn't matter to me. You want to keep track of your hours or not, you don't turn it in, I'm not paying you any bonus money. So, and it took us literally a year to get all this going. So don't think you're going to take this plan tomorrow, take a piece of paper, get your guys on board, because you know what has to happen first is you have to have the culture in your company that your staff believes that this is not a punishment. This is not something you're making them do. This is for the betterment of, you got to have 3 W's, 3 of them. Customers got to win, staff has to win, and the owner has to win. If you don't have 3 W's, your plan sucks. Junk it. If you don't have 3 W's, that's not a good goal, because you have to have customers to have a company. So if your customers don't benefit or win, then it's no good. If your staff don't benefit or win, no good. If me, the owner, don't get any, moolah, don't get any whatever it is, then we can't do it. If we don't have 3 W's, we can't use that plan. We can't use that process. So,
Gene,
yes.
so what's in it for me times 3, right?
Sure. That's a good way to put it. And we talk about this every meeting. Every Monday morning we have a meeting. We go over our mission statement. We go over our ethics. We go over our culture if we need to revisit that. We need to make sure that everything we do is for the customer, for the staff, and for the company. And if you do that on a consistent basis, you build the culture, your guys will fall on the sword for you. Your guys will work extremely hard for you. And you have a really bitchin' shop. That's fun to be at. Yeah, Norm.
Yeah, Gene, what you've been describing could apply to almost any service business. We call it billable hours. How many hours were worked on the job? How much was billed and how much did you collect? It applies to my business and it applies to all of your businesses.
Right. And we steal that. Every trainer, if you look at, they steal all these different things from the HVAC business, the plumbing contractors. This isn't, new to automotive. This is, like Norm says, all service business it applies to. So don't think you're special. Everybody in the world uses this. So.
Hey, Gene, Javier wants to know, what scheduling system do you use?
I use RO Writer as a point of sale system, and then they have a unique program that adds on to that is on every computer. All my technicians have a computer of their own, and they log in under their name, and it queues up all the jobs that are assigned to them, and then they click on them and they can look at history and sign on and off. So if you don't have RO Writer, it wouldn't work. But I'm pretty sure Bolt-On, Auto Vitals, a lot of these people have them. But be very, very cautious when you're starting out. You can do a lot of this manually on spreadsheets and not get yourself in. Because what I found is mechanics, technicians, whatever we call them these days, are real sketchy when it comes to having to use a lot of computer stuff, especially if they're older, they don't have a lot of education. It's really tough for some of those guys to jump on board the electronic bandwagon. So kind of be a little careful with that would be some advice. Visit other shops, visit the shops near you. I didn't get smart. I'm not an intelligent person, but I'm good at R&D, C&P, copy and paste, rip off and duplicate, whatever you want to call it. Go see what other guys are doing, and especially guys that might have the same management system as you. And the reason I grew is I never visited somebody that was equal to my shop or lesser. I always visited the big dogs and, went out and played in their dog pound, and that way I knew what I could do. I knew what was possible. And a lot of these guys will share their numbers with you and share their processes. Because, when I talk to some shops, they have no idea what gross profit is, no idea what net profit is, no idea, what it even should be. They think they made $100 on a $2,000 job and woohoo, I made money, so I must be good. And, and it's tragic that our industry is like that. And, one thing we kicked around in our chapter is to try and put together a little 3-person task force to visit shops in our chapter to help them and show them some things. But the owners got to be willing too. A lot of bonehead owners out there, sorry to say it, that, are just not going to learn, not going to do anything. So anyways.
I do have a question. If
yes.
I can cut you off real quick.
Sure.
So, hopefully don't take too long. let's say the company's SOPs in line, the KPIs within line as well. Our team members are along with the same goal. How do you get the extra sales? I mean, we're at the point that we're thinking we're capped off on the market share. So how would you suggest, or what would you think we should go?
So you're thinking you're low on car count?
Car count, it's there, but we're guessing the market share, we're capped off.
Are you a specialty shop?
We are.
Okay. And I did a tremendous amount of, before I grew, I did a tremendous amount of research on 3 to 5 miles from my shop, types of cars, you know, and I know a lot of people do this, the demographics, the money they make, who they look for. If I had a specialty shop, you'd have to spend a little more money because the information you have to buy to know where your BMW, Mercedes, Audi, whatever Toyota owners are. You can still get that information, but it costs you money. So if I was looking for more market share, I'd spend some dollars and find out where my peeps were, you know, where those guys are hiding. And then I'd put together some killer information. And I don't know what you do as marketing, and I know everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I use the crap out of direct mail.
We do that also, and we find it very effective.
I do tens of thousands of pieces of direct mail, and people just absolutely love it. And it gives us tremendous return on that's trackable return, because, you know, they bring the card in, you can track that,
Yes.
you know. And so again, I would build you know, have a goal. You know, you want more money, dollars, customers.
More car
The other
count.
question I would ask is your ARO maxed out?
Our average
most of-
ARO, it's close.
So, sorry?
It's close to maxed out.
Okay. So the biggest mistake I see the shops that I visit and talk to is, how many customers you have in your database, would you guess?
I would guess roughly a little bit over 3,000.
Okay. So wrap your mind around this, okay? So if you have just 1,000 people, 1,000 customers that came in twice a year and spent $500.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you take that same customer and they have 2 cars, then that doubles.
Right.
Right. So most of us don't go after our existing customers, or we don't go after because there's no way 3,000 cars. I don't even know if I probably have that many.
I'm sorry, they're not active customer, 3,000 database.
Well, then you make them active.
Okay.
Because that's
like that.
that's a person that's been to your company at some point. You might have pissed them off. They might not like you, but you have an opportunity to gain them back. The best marketing, the best advice is beat the crap out of your existing database. You know, we send newsletters to our existing database. Expensive as hell to send a printed newsletter. But we put a puzzle, you get $25 if you fill out the puzzle and bring it in. We do a food drive. We do a pet, bring in canned food for pets or leashes. We'll go to the animal shelter and donate it. We build that community within our community. So people know you as not an auto repair guy. You're an upstanding citizen of the community that fixes cars. And
Gene, isn't it less time and effort to retain that return customer? I mean, I think when you go out and get more customers, it kind of takes that initial, it's a lot of onboarding. It's a lot of time.
No, absolutely.
To get familiar with the car.
Our plan is we need a 25% backfill of new customers
25.
to get rid, to take care of the people that are moving, dying, we piss off, they buy a new car, whatever. 25% of our base moves or goes away. So our plan is, how do we backfill 25%? And that's with our direct mail, with our other programs. So my goal is 80 new customers per month coming into our shop. So I don't reach that a lot. I can do usually 60. We can usually get 60. 80 is a really hard number for us to reach unless I really spend an absorbent amount of money, which I don't want to do right now. So, but we have an office manager, and all her job is to monitor, measure who hasn't been in, and we have other programs that do that as well. But we will send out a rewards, you know, and I don't know what kind of inspections you do, because that's on my list here. Is the way you get great 1-for-1 is to beat the holy hell out of your inspections. I mean, there isn't a car out there that doesn't need 8 hours worth of work, and I don't care what you say. There is not, unless it's a brand new car or very low miles, every car in your door needs 8 hours worth of work. Our goal in our shop is to sell 3 hours of that 8 hours minimum. So I have 6 techs, three cars per tech. We need 18 cars per day. We sell 3 hours per tech. That's 9 hours per day. That's, you know, that's how we work our plan. Does it always work? Heck no. But sometimes you sell a 10-hour job. Sometimes you sell an oil change. But, you know, you just, without having a plan and, you know, and a goal, then you're nothing. But my advice to you, I hate to call you house bag, but
Okay. Well, actually, that's what it says. I'll call for it.
yeah, that's what it says. So you're
Greg.
stuck with what your name's,
You
right?
can call him Greg.
So, but anyways, my advice to you would be make sure your inspections are good, and that's the other thing on my list is I audit every invoice every day. So every ticket, I get a pile on my desk every day, and I go through it and I match it up to the inspection. Here's a 60,000 mile car, no service is recommended, no history of them being done. Who do you think is going to get their foot up their rear end at my shop? Guy that didn't do that, you know, the guy that did that inspection, because there's no way in the world a car is going to roll through your shop with 60K with no history that doesn't need 3 or 4 hours worth of work recommended. Now, I'm not saying sell all the work, because we have a very ethical, when the customer comes in, we're going to tell them, you're going to come in, you're going to get an inspection. I'm going to give you a list. You're probably not going to like it. But you know what? For me to make your car safe and reliable, save you money, that's my job. If we can't get on that same page, we're probably not going to get along as customer and owner, you know? So you got to build that trust up front and let them know they're going to get maybe $1,000 or $2,000 or $8,000 list. I don't know. But if, you know, that's the culture of our company. We're never going to sell you anything you don't need. We're never going to pressure you to do it. You say no, good. We'll put it on the list. When would you like a reminder? You know, we have a scheduling system and put it in the calendar, boom, 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 boom. Okay, you need 8 hours worth of work. We'll do 3 hours today. I'll do 3 hours in 3 months. I'll do 3 hours in 3 months after that. We schedule them into our, so they're in the queue, and then we send them. What do you do to remind somebody? How do you remind somebody, Greg?
We use demand force for that. Also, our internal software, we actually.
So you send them one reminder, right?
Yes.
So we send a text, a letter, an email, and then a phone call. Every person. We don't let them off the hook.
Have you noticed the phone call is a little bit more effective? They're more likely to book.
It's really difficult to say because most people don't answer their phone, so you end up leaving a message. But
Okay.
most
Or
people are appreciative of the reminders because they're busy. They want that reminder. And it's amazing to me when I start interviewing people, it says, why did you come in? He said, well, it's the 4th time, for God's sakes. It's about time I get my car in here. So most people fail by using an outside source, and it's not a fail. That's probably a poor word. They touch them one time, and the customer says, I don't really need it. I don't have the money. You know, the kid's sick, you know, whatever. Whereas if you touch them and then a week later or whatever, touch them again and a week later, and that's what's really nice about our software is it date tags. When my office manager and I don't even know the order anymore. I think she starts with a letter, then a text, then an email, then a phone call. I don't know which order they do it in. That's how bad I am, because I have great staff that just handles that.
That's awesome.
And
Hey,
Gene, most people actually know, most customers actually have heard it before, and you're reiterating. And so a lot of times what I've sat down with customers, because a lot of times they're at these local shops and they'll come to us, and I go, look, this is for your safety. Legally, this car needs to be safe on the road, and you're depending on someone else to do that for you. And let's prioritize. So sometimes I notice prioritizing the level of safety first. So they have a plan, like these ball tires are priority one, this alignment. And then, so when you consider the safety factor, a lot of times the customer will be more inclined to do those quicker, because they're realizing that you're willing to work with them. And then you just kind of keep that ball rolling with them. So they have a plan of phasing their services out.
Right. Well, and I agree with you. And again, that's the beauty of, I'm hoping most of you are moving to or have gone to some kind of a text or email inspection sheet that you can send the customer with pictures, with here's the safety items, here's the recommended items, and here's the items that can be deferred if you really want to defer something. Our sales have probably gone up 30% since we've changed to, and there's many of them out there. Again, if you want to know who I use, I'm happy to share that with you, but have some kind of an electronic inspection system that you can send to the customer with pictures, with information, and it just is amazing. So I wish, I don't know how much longer you want to go. We're supposed to stop here pretty quick, right, Joseph?
We got a few more minutes.
Okay.
I got a question.
But I mean, we haven't even touched, a few, half of the things that I had written down. But let me tell you, I told you I'd tell you how my plan works, and I'd like to share that with you. Is every employee works 40 hours a week. We try not to do overtime. We will sometimes, but as a general rule, we don't pay overtime. So 40 hours a week, and they want to produce 40 hours. Now, everybody talks about being 100% productive, and productive is working on the car 8 hours that you're there, right? Well, that's freaking impossible. Sorry. The guy's got to go to the restroom. The guy's got to do different things. So our goal is to have them work on the car 7.2 hours, which is 90% productive. So 0.8 of the hour a day. He can take his breaks. He can do his business, do whatever he wants. But I expect them to be 125% efficient, which means they're going to, finish the job before the build time. So if he's 90% productive and 125% efficient, that means he bills me 9 hours per day. So that's how I come up. That's my magic formula. And this is talked about. This is well known in our company. Now, this doesn't apply to an apprentice or somebody that doesn't have the skill level, but for a master tech. And I have guys that have no problem billing 10 or 12 hours a day. They just don't. They just have that magic that they know how to, we're fortunate enough. My guys have, the other thing is if you have one guy and one rack or one work area, you're probably never going to get a 1-for-1 very easy. My guys have 2 racks, 2 bays, lots of room, lots of tools. So they have one car on a rack, they inspect it, move to the next one with sold work, move to the next one when that's sold, get the next one inspected. So we're very fortunate to have a large enough shop that we can do that. So having too many employees is another, too many inefficient employees. And I know, specialty shops like, Kirk's a muffler guy, and that sometimes it's really difficult to do this. What I'm talking about equates to usually a general repair shop, Asian domestic, European specialty shops they should be doing better than we are because of the ARO and the amount of work and the markup on parts. So know your markup on parts, track everything. If you're start simple by just tracking where the time is. it'll blow you away and to track time, grab a stool, sit down and watch. That's all you have to do is commit to watch your techs in the bay and let them know you're not doing anything wrong. But the more they help the shop, the more money the shop makes, the more benefits they get, the more pay. It's got to be a win for them. So always make it, whatever you're doing, whatever you're changing, because one of the worst, somebody asked me what one of the biggest mistakes I made. One of them was I'd go to a seminar or a webinar and my company hated it when I came back, because I came back and all these great ideas that somebody had in their shop, I'm going to implement into our shop and make our shop spectacular because somebody else did it. They hated it because it never worked. So move slowly, have a goal, make a plan with your life. You want a car, have a goal, make a plan how you're going to get it. You want a vacation home, you want a second home, you want to do $1 million this year, you want to do $2 million this year, whatever it is, you have to start with the goal, and then you have to have a plan to get there. So,
Gene?
Yes.
So I personally use TechMetric. I've been using them for about a year now, and they have a phenomenal reporting. Every which way you want. They're so tedious with reporting. They're also ASCCA sponsor. So is Shopware. They're also sponsors too. They're both rock on softwares, really good softwares.
And I think everybody has a good software. It just depends on what you like and what you want. I'd like to go over two other things, and then I'll call it a day that I think are important. One of the things that shops tell me they do, but when I look at their invoices, they don't do, is charge for inspections and charge for resets. So car comes in with a dead battery. Okay, test the battery, put a battery in it, charge them for putting a battery in it, and let them go. Well, what happened to the time for testing the battery, the charging system, the starting system, you know, that extra 0.5? What happened to when a car comes in overheating? Oh, it needs a thermostat. So you put a thermostat in it, charge them parts and labor. What happened to the 0.5 for the pressure test and the test drive and the time you spent? Once we implemented, I made a canned job in our system, and it's called inspections, and it's like a leak inspection. How many people check leaks and don't charge anything? Well, you got to rack the car, you got to maybe run the car, you got to take shielding off the car to find the leak. That's a 0.5. So everything that comes into your shop, battery, electrical, leak, overheating, whatever it is, you should build a menu or canned job that, and if you want to see what mine look like, I can print them out and send them to you. Just let me know. But once we started doing that, we gained an extra half an hour on every single car that came into our shop. The other thing we started doing is, how many of you run monitors or check monitors and don't charge any time? You know, every job that comes in, 1.5 for a, you know, we don't call it diagnostic anymore. We call it test, analyze, and advise. But every 1.5 job has an extra half an hour for verifying the concern is fixed by running the monitors. Sometimes you got to drive a car 10 or 15 miles to get it to run all the monitors. The other thing we started doing recently, and my guys are having a tough time, is once you have a battery disconnect, what happens? The car doesn't idle, the windows don't roll up and down right, the air conditioning system doesn't work, but we fix all that for free usually, right? No, you need to have we have some kind of cool wording, and I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. You know, after battery
relearn procedure.
After battery disconnect, we, you know, reset, recalibrate, relearn, all this, and sometimes you got to clean throttle bodies to make the cars idle. So all that, I don't know why I was such a bonehead doing that for free for all these years, but we're charging for it. And I have just 0 people complain about it. And the last thing that I'd like to share is it's been really enlightening for me to engage my staff and getting them involved in the process and making them own. When we got the new inspection program years ago, I made them put it together. I made them, be a part of it. So now it's not me telling them they have to do this inspection. They own it. They own all the different categories. They're a part of it. And then we constantly ask, what is a time waster? Your job is to eliminate time wasters. Maybe it's all the equipment's on one side of the shop and it needs to be in the middle. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's the way the key system works. Maybe it's where we park the cars. Maybe it's, your guys are really smart, your staff, and they'll come up with some really cool ways to save time. And remember, most of us, every minute is about $4. So you have 6 mechanics, $4 a minute. That's quite a few dollars a minute that we waste for every minute. So, it behooves you to try and eliminate the time wasters. So with that, I appreciate everybody listening to me babble. I don't know everything. I never will claim to be. And what works for me may or may not work for you. So I don't want you to think that I have all the answers, but you're all welcome to visit our shop. I'd encourage you to visit other shops, in your area. Just it's really enlightening and a great process. But when you're on the counter, I'm on the counter for 2 days, and I know what you guys are going through because one of my advisors unexpectedly is not there. So, hell, I sold $4,400 today. So I did pretty good for an old guy that hasn't been on the counter for a while. So, but I understand the stress and how hard it is to be in your position and as owners and as service advisors and trying to do everything and trying to have a life. So you guys deserve more credit than you get, but please get paid for what you do. And I know Norm offers a service that will look at your break even, look at your P&L for free. He's kind of a tough guy to deal with because he has this funny accent that he talks with, but he is a pretty knowledgeable guy. But he does offer that as a benefit to our chapter members if you're interested. So there's your plug, Norm.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
And there's many other members, and associate members that do phenomenal things for us, as well as the state. Our chapter is really strong, I believe, and we have a lot of good benefits. And I'm going to put together some free training for all of you. But don't forget the state does have Shannon has great, benefits and a lot of other things. So don't forget about our state. So with that, I'll be quiet. And Kirk, I expect to win the raffle tonight.
You deserve it.
Hey, Joseph, can
Thank you, Gene.
Can I say just a couple things? Kind of in line with what Gene's talking about there.
If you can do it really, really quickly.
All right. The canned jobs that Gene was talking about are super important. You need to make those, put them together for your advisors to use. Make sure they know how to access them. The canned jobs it just makes it so much easier to put together your estimates and sell all the work. Something else that I recommend doing, we talked about the inspection process. Hopefully everybody's doing the digital inspections. Is do some re-inspections with your employees. And so you have one guy inspect the car, you have another person inspect the same car, and then you have those 2 people and your service advisor have a conversation about what they did catch, what they didn't catch, why they didn't recommend what they did, and then you get everybody on the same page so that everybody's recommending the same things the same way. That way things don't get overlooked. And you have that conversation with people. This isn't to get anybody in trouble. This is to get everybody on the same page so that we're all doing it the same way. That can help a lot. And then coach. Absolutely. Lots of great ones. Check them out. Figure out who's going to match your personality and kind of your style. I looked at a lot of different ones. I settled on one about 15 years ago. It like Gene said, it'll turn your business around. If you say you can't afford one, guess what? You need it. You find a way, make it happen. It can make all the difference in the world. So, and great discussion tonight, Gene. You got a lot of great ideas.
Thank you. Please don't think I'm asking you to go out and buy an electronic inspection. You want them, you can start paper. If you don't have one, do something and start out with the paper one. You can get an electronic one later, but you have to have something in place to inspect the cars in a consistent manner. And if you want, I have a list that everybody has that my recommendation when a car comes in at 50,000 miles, they're going to get a trans service recommended. Just a basic company, baseline of recommendations. And that's why I audit everything every day, because I don't want my guys because your lazy guys will recommend brake flushes on every car, whether it needs it or not, because it's easy to do. And they won't do a trans service because it's harder to do. So you got to make sure you eliminate that and catch that right away.
And I wanted to add to that because there was a couple of times this evening where you really touched upon that. And I've been nipping at the coattails and following along at some of that tidbits. And honestly, when we, as the organizers, give them information to be able to follow through, when was the last service performed? What was the interval? What's the condition of the fluid? What service can we possibly sell them? They know the services that we offer. It makes it a lot easier for not only the technicians to know what to tell the service advisors, but for the service advisors to translate that to the customers. And I think from experience I speak with, I struggled with trying to get it out of here, like you said, and on paper. And that was the biggest part of me knowing what service I would sell from the counter's point of view versus what you want your staff to be able to follow through and be able to do that based upon those key points. And that was a big game changer to eliminate the stuff you don't want to work on, because the gravy is in the maintenance.
And maybe we could put together a Saturday if you guys want to all meet. We get 30 people or more and just sit down and have this discussion, because 30 minutes doesn't do it justice. There's so many other things. So if that's something you want to do, we can do that someday as well. Tim will buy the breakfast burritos.
And Gene, you got to bring the dog, because I'm jealous.
Okay, I'm sorry. You guys keep spurring things, but we got to stop sometime. So thank you again.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Gene.
Thank you very much, Gene.
Joseph,
Yes.
gotta pull some money up?
Yeah. Let's see. We've got our little cage here. So we'll pull 4 numbers. And we'll see what we have. All right. Number 1. I don't think we've ever pulled a number 1 before, and that's 60-minute tune in Granada Hills, and they're not here. We have number 51, Mark's Independent Service, who said he was going to be here.
Wow.
Both Mark and Colleen said they would be here, and they didn't come.
Yeah.
So we'll have to enjoy telling them that. Here we have number 9, which is Associated Auto Air and Radiator. They're
That's
not
the
here
second
tonight.
time.
Yeah. And then the final one is VJ's Auto Service. No winners tonight. What
Is
a
he
shame.
here? I don't see him.
What was that?
I don't see him. I was like, he's usually always here. I didn't see him.
All right. Kirk, back to you.
Okay.
Oh, and
Yes,
just
that's it.
just
We want to thank everybody for joining, especially Gene. Thank you very much for trying to, you know, people, make sure you try to go to team weekend and listen. Like Gene was saying, Malin's a coach. Malin's got a lot of good things out there. He could really help you kind of get a stepping stone on your way.
And Gene, you'll send me those things. I sent you an email to remind me, or to remind you to send me those docs that I can send out to everybody. Great.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Good
everybody.
seeing you.
Hey, Gene,
Yes.
you know how you said you don't know why you would give up that half hour? And I hear it with a lot of you guys. You're brilliant because you left wrenching. You just wanted a wrench. And being a shop owner just took so much more effort. It was hard. You have to relearn up here, you know, because you know to fix it. You know how to fix it and you jump into it. But the customer isn't just going to say, oh, you know, it took you half an hour extra. I'm going to pay you. They don't do that
We call it the rabbit hole. Techs are good at going down the rabbit hole
so
and
you're
coming back. You know, they
yeah,
don't
so
know what
you
time
guys have to move out of that wrenching to being a shop owner, and that's a really hard step. That's something I never wanted to do. I was like, I don't have the patience for it, but I know why you guys do it, and you guys are good at what you do. Kudos. So it's hard to run a business.
I'm not good at wrenching anymore, so
That's why ASCCA exists, is to help good techs
you guys
become good
out.
owners.
Yeah.
For the older
Sure,
people,
Thank you.
Wendy, there used to be a poster out there. There's two vultures sitting on a branch looking down, and there's nothing around, and the caption is, "Patience, my ass, let's kill something."
Right.
Everybody remember that
Yeah,
poster?
gotta get paid too.
I remember it.
All right, you guys.
All right. Good seeing you, Wendy.
You too. I'll post
Bye,
our
Wendy.
meeting on Tech Talk, on the Team Talk. But
Good.
Yep.
so, okay.
Good.
All righty. We'll see you all later.
All right.
See ya.
John, thank you for
You're gonna
joining.
put your advisory thing on Team Talk, Wendy?
Yeah, I'll put it. I think you guys get all the emails direct, right?
I know I
So you
get
guys
it,
should-
but I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well,
But I just sent it to Joseph too, so he's gonna send it to
Yeah,
all you guys.
I'll
So
send it
John
out
was
to our
asking
members,
about it.
but yeah, go ahead and post it on Team Talk as well.
okay, yeah, but I just send you the invite to make sure that you send it out to everybody. So
Yes.
the thing that we really want to hear is to make sure that our dean and our administration hears that the FaceTime and us assessing students and putting them through live sessions is important.
how much
So-
Perkins money do you guys have, Wendy?
How much what?
Perkins money?
It depends. We have to apply for it. So it depends on our proposal and what comes back and what the school decides to allot
I've
us.
been pushing a lot of the schools to get into the, you know, the ADS systems, you know, the
Yes, we do have
ADOS.
money. So I do have, I think we got 80 in Perkins, but we need to upgrade our cars. So we're actually going to try to get newer vehicles. So it just, I always shoot high. We always write it up. I write a lot of money in it, a lot of needs, and because I know they're going to shoot us down. So it's just kind of the way we do it. So, but we've been really good the last couple of years. So since I started writing all these grants and proposals and really backing it up with evidence, the technology that's out there, writing things up, it's been really good. We've never gotten money like we've gotten the last 4 years.
for those
So the fact
taxpayers
that I
paying
actually
so
have
much,
a meter for every student is amazing. The what?
taking all our tax money.
Hey, well, at least I'm using it though, and I'm live. So, you know, how much money isn't sitting at that school right now that's not being used because we're all hybrid or online. So, but yeah, it's kind of tricky because I try not to mention ASC testing is all theory based and not live. So, you know, that kind of hurts us a little bit. So I'm like, nope, we need to have live hours because whether it's part of accreditation, blah, 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 you know, so just make sure that gets mentioned somehow in those minutes, that it's crucial for you guys to be able to have a student that has these hands-on skills, or at least has been vetted, that they know how to use a lift, that they know how to use it safely, they're not going to kill themselves, they know how to torque a wheel. Because a lot of schools are still getting pushback to go live, which is really, I just don't understand it. It just, you know, nursing, hello, don't put an IV in me. So, you know, it just, there's some of these things, CTE areas, that you can't teach virtually. So, you know, if you guys are on any of those committees or meetings, try to get that statement in there somehow.
Good to know.
Yeah, because sometimes the teachers are just, they don't know how to ask, or they push it. But when they hear it from you guys, and you guys are the community, and you guys hiring the students, and you guys are working on some of these faculty's cars, then it kind of resonates. So, but yeah, I'll put it up there, and it's next weekend. I think it's on, I forgot even. I think it's on Wednesday the 10th, the 11th, 10th. It's after the holiday.
Your advisor?
Our meeting. Our advisory. It's
I have
after the
November
holiday.
18th.
Okay, so we pushed it. We pushed it because we're done with school. Actually, that is after our finals week, and we didn't want to postpone, since we have very minimal time in the lab with them. We'll be done with school. So that's why we pushed it an extra week. We usually don't like to go that close to Thanksgiving, but we did that because we're going to be done with our school semester on the 13th. Friday the 13th. How do you like that? So, and we did 12 weeks too, because if we did have a COVID outbreak or anything, it gave us time to suspend, isolate the case, track, and then continue back. So we did do 12 weeks because we still have the rest of November and 2 weeks in December to play with. So we did do that in case we had to maybe tell a student that they had to stay home or isolate. We could still come back and teach them before the semester was over. So we really thought about an action plan to make sure that there was no, you know, no complaints from administration on getting these students through. So we'll see. We'll see what next year entails for us.
Keep up the good work, Wendy.
Yeah, I'll try.
And the only other question is, both your kids going fishing this weekend?
Yes, they are.
Cool.
Yes, Sophia heard me talking to Joe, and Adrian, you know, is of course going to go fishing. And then Sophia goes, I want to go too. And actually that picture in the background, that's Lake Castaic. That's at Castaic. Bye, Jean.
Bye, Jane.
Hey, Gene, thank you.
So we just fished off the
Welcome.
pier, but she fishes. So yeah, we need a trip. We're so COVID out. We're so done. And I owe him a birthday present. So it was perfect timing when Joe Marie called. So, but yeah, we'll be out fishing, rain or shine.
All right, people. I'm gonna push this red button. It's gonna.
Bye.
Joseph has to go because
Kick
everybody
he's going
off.
to cut us off at the neck.
Good night, everybody.
Not everybody.
All
Greg,
right.
and I'll see you at the shop one day.
Javier, Greg, glad you guys
Just
joined
text
us.
me.
You. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.